Welcome back to our Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news. We're going to be talking about Mohamed Kudus because Fabrizio Romano says talks between Arsenal and Kudus have been taking place even in July. The last set of contact was between now and the end of July. So the talks are ongoing. The signing is on 100%. Mohamed Kudus is sold on a transfer to Arsenal. He wants Arsenal only, and all talks ongoing between Brighton and West Ham. He is not involved as a player. He's actually focused on Arsenal Football Club. So if we have talked to him until July, until the end of July, as Fabrizio Romano says, then it means Arsenal have the intention of sending in a bid. It means Arsenal have the intention of signing Mohamed Kudus before the window closes. We're going to be diving into that story. We'll be talking about Arsenal's reluctancy to meet the demands of Ajax yet, because we've not sold players in time, and that is actually going to be another key reason why Arsenal are now rushing to sell the likes of Balogun, Tierney, and all these other players to get our transfer summer signing in Mohamed Kudus. Let's get this video to 500 likes. Let me know in the comment box below, what do you think Arsenal should do? Sacrifice Kudus and sign a defender, or sacrifice a defender and sign Mohamed Kudus? Now that is where we are, because Mikel Arteta today in his press conference has been talking about the possibility of going to the market to get a replacement for Julian Timber, and he said we are open to everything. We have a couple of players in the squad, but of course you have to be open to the market. You have to be open to opportunities. If one arises, then we will actually grab it by the horns. I think that is actually how that saying goes. So let me know in the comment box below, do we sacrifice Kudus for a defender, or do we sacrifice a defender for Mohamed Kudus? Now let us start off with a big update from Fabrizio Romano. Just like you can see on your screen, it says he was told that the last point of contact between Mohamed Kudus and Arsenal was at the end of July last month, and that was a couple of weeks ago. So let's see if Arsenal will reactivate the option. Let's see if Arsenal will actually go again and bid again for Mohamed Kudus. That is the first story. That's the first report coming in from Fabrizio Romano. That the talks between Arsenal and Mohamed Kudus have never gone away. Now, initially, we thought that talks had actually ended prior to the World Cup. That is actually not true. Arsenal have been in silent talks, undercover groundwork to sign Mohamed Kudus until the end of last month. So Fabrizio says now, with all this happening, Arsenal losing a defender, a key cog in the machine, Arsenal now have to go back to the market to sign a defender. Let's see if Arsenal will reignite the interest in Mohamed Kudus. But then there is also this story that actually makes perfect sense right about now. It comes in from James Bank from the CBS, and it says Arsenal are focused on trimming back their 32-man squad. If they manage to do so, there would be the urge to strengthen their attack if the opportunity presented itself. So Arsenal's focus in the dying days of the window, in the last days of the transfer window, currently is to focus on our attack. We want to strengthen our attack. James Bank says at the moment, we want to trim the squad. Tavares out, Pepe out, Tierney out, so Cedric Suarez out. All these guys, Arsenal are planning on trimming them out, and then we are going to strengthen the attack if the opportunity arises. And for me, in terms of opportunity arising, it's about Ajax agreeing to get probably around 35 million euros in Mohamed Kudus, and maybe the structure of the deal as well. If Arsenal look at this deal as doable, if Arsenal look at this deal as one that can actually benefit us, then 100% it will happen. Now, the last story is also one that actually is fascinating and contradicts, but I want to cover it as well. It's about Mohamed Kudus, and these guys are called Talking Ball, and they're saying Arsenal currently distancing themselves from Kudus and his representatives. Despite being the only club to agree personal terms with Mohamed Kudus, the players' agents and actions, including talks with other clubs, have raised concerns at Arsenal. The club are seeking players who are fully committed to the project. Currently, West Ham is showing significant interest in Mohamed Kudus, while Brighton had discussions with Ajax but couldn't agree on personal terms. Manchester City and Chelsea explored the alternative explored other alternatives. Leaving Mohamed Kudus without concrete interest. As for Arsenal, potential right-wing targets also now include Wolves' Pedro Neto and Atletico Bilbao's Nico Williams. There is a strong possibility Arsenal might revisit Kudus, the Kudus deal closer to the end of the window, depending on the other circumstances. Now, this is not a bad story at all. It's not a bad story at all, actually. It really covers what's going on in detail, but I think there is a lot of lying in that story. And this is what I'm going to say. One, Mohamed Kudus has not agreed personal terms with any other club, so he's not actually shown any kind of, and I don't know if it's called uncommitment, but he's not shown that he's not committed to the Arsenal project. He's not shown that he's desperate to join other clubs. Kudus if Kudus was actually not committed to Arsenal, if he was not convinced about this project, he would be at Brighton right now. Brighton have already agreed a €40 million fee for him. They have also tabled personal terms for the player, and it's about him saying yes to Brighton, as simple as that. So that's why I don't believe in the story. That's why I just feel they've added piece and piece together, and they've come around with something kind of concocted. I don't think Kudus is not waiting for Arsenal. I don't think that. Now, his agents have talked to West Ham. His agents have talked to other big clubs, including Chelsea and Manchester City. Why? Because there is no guarantee that Mohamed Kudus is a top priority for Arsenal like Declan Rice. With Declan Rice, it was Declan Rice or no one else. Arsenal had burned some bridges with Brighton for Moises Caicedo in January, so we had no other option. Right? We either signed Declan Rice, or that phase of the Arsenal project could actually get damaged. But when you look at Mohamed Kudus, he knows that if Arsenal do not sign me, they can go and sign Julian Brandt. If Arsenal do not sign me, they can go and sign Pedro Neto, Nico Williams. They could go and get anyone at even a cheaper price. So the agents of the player and the interest of the player have to have a fallback position. It's the same thing we did with David Raya. I mean, if we're signing players that only want Arsenal, then David Raya shouldn't have signed a new deal at Brentford, right? He should have rebelled. So for me, logically, because Arsenal have to sell before they buy, it could go south. It could be wrong. It could go wrong. Arsenal could communicate to the players camp later on that we are unable to meet the demands of Ajax, and therefore we cannot sign the player this summer, right? And what happens from there? The player said, I don't want to sign a new deal. I want to be living. And Ajax, I've already told him, you've got to give us an answer. You've got to give us an answer. Time is running out. So for me, this is what I'm going to say. And this is what is happening according to Romano. And he's the guy I trust 100%. Arsenal have had contact until July the 30th, until the end of July. Okay, so that means that this is an option Arsenal have been looking at. This is an option Arsenal have strongly been looking at. James Bank, who is also a credible journalist from a credible outlet, CBS Sport, says that Arsenal are looking at an attacker after trimming the squad. So let's wait and see what's going to come out of there. The player is 100% sold on this Arsenal move. And that is where Mikel Arteta loves players. This is where Mikel Arteta loves his guys. Now, the fact that Kudus doesn't have options, that is also total crap. I don't think with players like Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia going for £60 million and for £115 million and £60 million respectively, I don't think a talent like Kudus, €40 million lacks potential suitors. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's the same as saying that you have an iPhone and you have a Technophone, and a Technophone is a million, and an iPhone is $500,000, and then you go like, well, nobody will buy that iPhone. I tell you what, they'll buy it. So for me, Mohamed Kudus will eventually leave Ajax. I think he's still waiting for Arsenal. He's waiting for us to go and make that bid, right? Doesn't matter whether the bid is rejected or not. I still think Arsenal will make the bid. I still think this one is going to have some late drama. Now, let's talk about West Ham a little bit before we get off to the other things. West Ham want to sign Kudus. They have talked to the interest of the player, and there is a consensus that the player side would prefer to join West Ham over Brighton. Brighton are in a very difficult situation here because the player doesn't even want to join them. That is the problem. So West Ham are in a much better situation, but they also have to sell Lucas Paqueta. Of course, Fabrizio Romano will say that Lucas Paqueta and the deal could actually be on the verge of happening, especially after that Super Cup game. Manchester City are now going to be concentrating 100% on signing Lucas Paqueta. So Paqueta goes to Man City. Arsenal do their sales. It's going to be a war between West Ham and Arsenal. The problem there is that West Ham will have the cash. They'll have some more money. They could go 50 million euros, and they could also, they've also already attracted Mohamed Kudus. But I think this is going to be between the player. It's going to be up to the player, actually. If he decides that I want to go Arsenal, then Ajax will be prompted to agree a deal with Arsenal and accept our bid. If he tells Ajax, get all the money you can, I will go to West Ham, then it is actually deal over, all right? So let's wait and see what's going to come out of this one. But the good thing is that Mohamed Kudus is 100% locked onto that Arsenal move. Arsenal have had contact within the last few weeks. It means the deal is absolutely still very alive. I'll speak to you right in the next one. Hit the like button, subscribe. Ciao.